Hello and welcome to another video from the only channel you need to not only survive the current apocalypse but actually enjoy it. And today's video is going to be about this abandoned rotting bus that's been sitting in my yard for 5 years now. The reality is this is a fully equipped bug out vehicle ready to go at a moment's notice. All I got to do is put a battery in it and start it up. When I bought the vehicle I paid $600 for it. It was 2 states away. I went there. Put the key in, put a battery in, and it started right up. With the fuel, it had been sitting for 10 years, same fuel, and that's when I learned that diesel doesn't go bad. But everything that's in here has been replaced, because as soon as I bought it, I filled it up with new fuel, brought it down, got all new hoses, all new wires, all new belts, and a new recovery tank, and new filters, about $750 just for that. And the next step would have been to put tires on it. But the tires had so much tread. Let me show you these tires. That I felt like I didn't need to mess with that. Well, in the meantime, I went ahead and took another trip, about a 300-mile trip in it. And one of the tires blew out when I was 10 miles from making it back home. So we went about 290 miles of a 300-mile trip. And fortunately, it was one of these dualies in the back, so I was able to still get home. And I only had to pay about $400 for a tire. If I'd had them fix it on the road, it would have been about $1,000. Well, in any case, they're big tires, they cost a lot of money. In here, we went ahead and rebuilt it. Now, I haven't been in this thing in years. But I put up walls just to kind of make it homey. And I didn't know how many people I might have in here. I didn't actually make this to bug out. That's another reason I never do videos about this bus, is because I don't want people thinking I've got some kind of plan to just take off cross country in a million-pound school bus. But I made it as a separate home, that in case something happened to my home I could live in it, or if there was a hurricane I could load up all my possessions I didn't want destroyed and I could take them with me somewhere. But mostly I made it because I knew that eventually things were going to get bad and I would have to have a location to run to, not drive to. So when the government collapses, the plan is to drive this thing around the block about a mile from my house and park it into an abandoned wooded area where no one can see it. And that way, if somebody overruns my position here, I hate to sound like one of them soldier of fortune types, but if they do that, I can just run through the woods and sleep in my abandoned bus out in the middle of the woods about a mile from my house. Okay, in any case, I'll show you some of the features here. I put in this little electric start camp stove. It's propane, and by law you have to put the propane tanks outdoors, but my propane tank is just sitting right under here, and I can carry all of my extra propane tanks if I have to. And I had these cabinets custom built just for this bus because they're not normal size cabinets, and these here are the cables. When I'm driving I have to strap the cabinet door shut because they'll slide open. I don't know what I got in here. I actually thought I had took everything out, but I guess a lot of the stuff that I have no use for is like MRE toilet paper and MRE wet wipes, that kind of stuff in here. We initially had it packed full of MREs, about 30 cases of MREs, and those were packed on either side of the bed. If you can see that, they fit in there perfectly, and they would come up right level with the top of the mattress. So for driving around, you know, we could have a bed back here, but have all our food supplies in here too. And underneath the bed, I have installed 2 RV water tanks, and they're really buckled down. So even in an accident, I mean, obviously things are going to go everywhere if this bus flips. But even in an accident, all that weight of water, which is, who knows, hundreds of pounds of water, wouldn't come flying forward. And that's another reason we got a school bus, is because these axles are designed to carry incredible amounts of weight. If you go buy a used RV as a bug out vehicle, and it's not like a Provost bus, which is $1 million vehicle, you really ain't going to be able to bug out too good, because them old campers, they cannot take a lot of stress. You can't pull an extra vehicle behind them. You can't load them with a lot of supplies. Over here's my toilet, which honestly, as things start to go south, I'm going to remove that and just replace it with one of my bucket toilets like I got in the house. Because this thing is dependent on a little electric pump, and it's nasty and it's old and it just needs to be gotten rid of. Just using a bucket is a lot simpler system. And I've installed a heater on this wall that taps into the same propane tanks that are underneath the stove. And I got a little medicine cabinet. And there's my toilet paper. Now the windows in this bathroom are painted white because this bus, where it was sitting, some of the windows had been shot out. And so I went and had new glass made. I disassembled most of these windows, and I had new glass made for a couple of panes, and I went ahead and put window tint on all of them so people couldn't see in here. And I took these plastic panels and painted them white so that you would have privacy in the bathroom. Over here is the bathtub. Just a regular bathtub. Of course, I got some lawn chairs in here. It just seems like the best place to carry them. And it's an RV bathtub I bought off eBay. And the water system in this bus is not gravity feed. It runs off of a little electric pump. And since the bus carries, look, I built all these walls myself. And then we went ahead and lined the walls back here and the roof with carpet, just for sound deadening and insulation. Put a couple of fans up here. It wouldn't take to charge this. If I had the 3 industrial batteries in here, I could put a few solar panels on the roof, and it would charge it enough for me to run these fans at night, along with these, I've got lights. And if you notice, these are real original school bus lights, but they got a switch by them. I went ahead and drilled a hole next to each one so that each light could be on its separate switch. That way, instead of just having to turn all the lights on at one time, you could just turn a light on where you happen to be reading, or like over the stove, so you could cook, have the rest of the bus be dark. And I got carpet up here. These seats I got out of a van, and the van was flipped over and filled with sand because it had been, ocean had washed over it. But the seats were bolted to the floor, which was upside down, so they were in pretty good shape. And the guy gave them to me for, I guess, 50 bucks. And we built little frames for them. See the little frame under there? And bolted them down. And underneath the frames, I've actually got several air mattresses stored, and they'll probably end up dry rot before I ever need to use them. But I actually did put seat belts on all the seats, front seats and these cabin seats. Don't know how many people would ever be riding with me, but we have taken a few trips in it. And I'd be perfectly safe taking a trip in it right now if they had all new tires in it. But those things are awful expensive. And I don't want to get too far from home and have a blowout and end up having to, take out my entire life savings to get a tire fixed. In any case, that's the bug out bus. Start up and run forever. In fact, the engine that's in it is a V8 diesel, and it's called the Million Mile engine. I think it's a Cummins, and it's got automatic transmission. And it's the best setup possible, because this bus gets 9 miles per gallon. That's kind of pretty good for a school bus. I think the new super fuel efficient ones get 11, but they won't carry as much weight. And that's another reason you really don't want, if you're going to bug out, you really need to take a really nondescript car, some little itty bitty 4-cylinder with enough supplies to last you for a while. I wouldn't bug out for anything. I'd hate to be in traffic in this. Oh well, don't want to survive, don't listen to me.